Blue Ink by Elizabeth Scarhart and Snowball the Snowflake. Illustrated by Snowball the Snowflake. Narrated by Elizabeth Scarhart. Chapter 9. Pockets. Sans didn't go to work the next day. He just lay in bed, curled up under his covers, tear streaks eroding his cheekbones. Papyrus had been kind enough to explain what had happened to Alphys when she called. Alphys thankfully understood and even gave Sans 2 weeks off in bereavement leave. When she asked Papyrus if there was anything else she could do, Papyrus told her, just give him support when he does come back. He'll need it. Papyrus was doing everything he could to give that support in the meantime. There weren't many things that would make him get off his lazy butt and clean and cook, but whenever his brother was down for the count, he was willing to do that and more, and Sans was more than down for the count this time. He quietly knocked on Sans' door before walking in with some fresh-made tacos and a glass of milk, his brother's favorites. Sans, I brought you some lunch. Sans forced himself to sit up and take the plate. He was hungry.
Thanks.
He began eating, barely raising his head. Papyrus sighed and sat on the edge of the bed, patting his brother's skull, careful not to touch the still healing crack. Is there anything at all I can do? He asked.
Bring him back.
Sans mumbled. Papyrus lowered his gaze. I would if I could. You two were so good together. I'm really sorry, bro. Sans was silent for a long time. Then he said,
We were stargazing, Pat. He took me to a universe where we all live on some moon. We were stargazing. It was so amazing. I told him I wanted to bring you there. He must have been hurting so bad, knowing I'd never be able to travel with him again. We had fun. I saw so many things I never thought possible. If I'd known he was trying to give me a good last day, I would have said more. I would have asked to see more.
Tears unwillingly began to spill again.
Why didn't I realize? Why didn't I realize he was treating me special for a reason?
Papyrus handed Sans a tissue to wipe the tears with. There. I'm sure he's happy that you enjoyed what he showed you so much. He finally got a chance to share the multiverse with someone. I think really, you gave him just as good of a final day. Sans sniffled.
You think so?
I do, Papyrus nodded. He meant a lot to him, Sans. If he was going to share the multiverse with anyone, he'd want it to be you. Sans sniffled again and finished eating. He lay back down and Papyrus gathered the dishes. Rest easy, he told Sans before leaving. Papyrus didn't sleep that night. He could hear his brother crying in the other room, but when he checked on him, he saw he was simply crying in his sleep. Pap had nearly woken him, but decided against it. Sleep would help. He'd gone back to his own room, listening to his brother's muffled sobs. Papyrus sighed and turned over. He was now facing his hoodie draped over the treadmill he had in his room. He didn't know why he had it since he never used it, but nonetheless, there it was holding up his hoodie. He noticed something sticking out of it and went to investigate. It was the grocery list from 2 weeks ago. How did that get into his pocket? He froze. Pocket! A crazy idea struck him. He didn't know how the universe stuff worked entirely, though Ink had been nice enough to give him a basic rundown of the science behind them. Judging from what little he knew, there may be a loophole in their plan. Papyrus wasted no time. He grabbed his cell phone and dialed Undyne's number. It took 3 tries before she finally picked up. Papyrus, it's 1 a.m. Why are you calling me at this hour? She mumbled. I think I know how to get Ink back without risking error returning, Papyrus told her, but I can't fix it alone. I know I've been asking a lot from you these past few months, but I promise this will be the last thing I ask for a while. Alright. What do you need? Undyne asked. An adjustment on Sans' bike, Papyrus replied. Okay, Undyne agreed. I'll be on the first boat to Snowden in the morning. Thanks. Sorry for waking you. Papyrus hung up and went back to bed, sleeping peacefully this time. The next morning, Papyrus forced himself to get up early. He made Sans breakfast and left it by Sans' bedroom to eat once he woke up. He showered, got dressed, and made his way to the river to meet Undyne. As promised, Undyne was on the first boat to arrive. She greeted Pap smiling. You really thought of a way to fix this? I think so. Come to Muffins. We'll just go sit over some muffins. The two headed to the cafe and ordered. Papyrus had double chocolate chip, and Undyne had lemon poppy seed. How's your brother? Undyne asked. He was a mess last time I saw him. He's not much better. I really hope this works for his sake, Papyrus told her. So, what's the plan? Undyne asked. I don't know if anyone ever told you this, but Ink doesn't actually live in the anti-void exactly, Papyrus said. He lives in a pocket dimension he created in the anti-void. We made it so we can't enter the anti-void itself. But does that include the pocket if it's in another dimension? Undyne was taken aback. That's a good question. I can't see a reason why it wouldn't, so long as it's disconnected enough. But how do we know this will also stop Error? Because Error can't enter that pocket. Ink created it as a safe zone for himself. Ink would be able to come through, but Error wouldn't. But I don't think Ink has thought of this, so we need to send Sans into the pocket itself. Which is why we need to recalibrate the motorbike so it enters the pocket instead of the anti-void. Papyrus, you're a genius! Undyne smiled. Let me sleep in the guest room Sans created. I'll stay here and work on it. A little over a week later, Papyrus entered his brother's room. He sat down on the edge of the bed and patted his brother's shoulder. Do you think you can get out of bed today? He asked.
Do I have to?
Sans murmured. No. But Undyne has something outside she wants to show you. We can't really bring it into your room easily, Papyrus said. Sans sighed and sat up.
Okay.
He mumbled.
Just give me 10 minutes to shower and put on some fresh clothes.
10 minutes later, he was making his way downstairs. Papyrus was chatting with Undyne on the couch, waiting for him.
Hello, Undyne.
Sans managed to greet her without sounding depressed. Having said that, his usual energy and cheer was also missing. How are you doing? Undyne asked gently.
I've been better,
Sans told her. Well, I think that what Papyrus and I have been working on will cheer you up, Undyne smiled. The two led the short skeleton outside where the motorbike was waiting.
The motorbike? Is this some kind of sick joke?
He asked, glaring at his brother. You're the jokester, bro, not me, said Papyrus. Hear me out. This thing's been recalibrated. I thought of something none of us considered. The devices prevent anyone from entering or leaving the anti-void, but Ink's pocket wasn't taken into account. The motorbike can now open a way to that. Since Error can't enter the pocket, it'll still be safe from him. Sans stared. He could enter Ink's pocket? He could visit Ink! Sans spun around and grabbed the two in the biggest hug he could manage.
Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Sans went on and on. He'd never been so happy. Love you, bro, Papyrus told him in return. Now go see him. Bring him back here if you can. He probably needs some TLC after his own greeting. Sans nodded and turned on the bike, opening the way. He didn't write it in, given that Ink's pocket was essentially a house. He simply walked through the hole, with Papyrus and Undyne keeping guard. Ink was found in his bedroom, curled up in his bed. It looked like being the bigger monster about this hadn't kept him from his own crippling grief. Sans was a bit worried. He'd had Papyrus look after him while he was down. Ink didn't have a brother like that. He reached out, gently shaking Ink's shoulder.
Are you okay?
Ink turned and his eyes went wide.
Sans!
He stood up and quickly hugged him. Sans returned the embrace happily.
How did you get in here?
Ink asked once they'd broken loose from each other.
Undyne and Papyrus recalibrated the motorbike to open up to here.
Sans told him.
Error can't enter your pocket, but I can, and you can leave from it.
Ink stared at Sans a moment, then laughed.
I've lived here almost my entire life, and I never once considered even trying to enter another universe from it. Some embodiment of creativity I am. Hey, none of us thought to do it either, except for my brother, apparently.
Sans told him.
Enough about that, though. Ink, did you mean what you said when you left? That you left me too? I did. I don't know if courting's a good idea, though.
Ink said uncertainly.
Sans, I'm an interdimensional being and a protector of universes. I wouldn't be around a lot if we did settle down. So? A lot of people have family members that have to go away a lot for work. They still love each other and live happy lives.
Sans countered.
How would this even work? What if something happens because of all of this?
Ink asked. Sans leaned forward and kissed Ink's mouth. He looked at Ink afterwards.
Did anything bad happen?
Ink blushed.
No.
He smiled. The two kissed again, longer this time. When they let go, Ink chuckled.
And to think, people say skeletons can't kiss because we don't have lips.
They just never tried.
Sans told him. The two both laughed until they heard a loud gurgling sound coming from Ink.
When's the last time you've eaten?
Sans asked. Ink blushed again.
My friend Dream stopped by a few times thinking I was sick, wanting to know if I felt better. He usually brought snacks with him, but other than that...
Okay, first date is to a restaurant.
Sans declared. Haven't even started the recording yet, and I'm already coughing. Excellent. Okay. Sans was silent for a long time. Then he said, "We were stargazing, Cap." Cap?